How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. I'm here with my fiance.
Thermites.
This is, as always, a Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards, and trans rights supporting channel. If you're not supporting that shit, get the fuck off this channel. This is Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings. Or and the Legend of the Ten Rings. One of the two.
I believe it's and.
Okay. Finally getting back to the Ten Rings stuff.
Oh, boy.
Maybe Mandarin in this movie?
Maybe.
Wild that Mandarin's not an Iron Man villain, but...
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this. I have literally nothing. I don't know anything about the character, anything about the setting, anything about anything at all. It's Chinese.
Yeah.
As much as I know.
Yeah, I know very little about the character. Tiny little bit. He was in Spider Islands. That's the main thing I saw
Okay.
him. That's about it. Excited to see the Ten Rings again. From what I recall, of course, Iron Man. Then Iron Man 3. That was the fake Ten Rings situation.
Yeah.
Then, of course, what was the name of the Marvel one-shots?
Hail to the King?
Hail to the King.
Yeah.
That was the big, like, okay, guys, you're all mad that the Mandarin was actually an actor, but don't worry, there's actual Mandarin out there.
There is an actual Mandarin.
Then, of course, Ant-Man, there was the one goon who had the Ten Rings tattoo.
That was a thing.
Mandarin could have some shrinky particles. I highly doubt it's going to come back up.
Highly
I really don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, it might. It was
might.
in a movie.
Tiny Mandarin.
Tiny Mandarin. Tinier rings.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, the announcement of this movie made me so happy because, like, late into Phase 3, we were doing the big everyone going, like, oh, is the MCU not over? Pretty sure the MCU is over. And, like, specifically bringing back the Ten Rings. Bringing back something that's been around as long as Iron Man. Actually, older than Iron Man in the MCU, in the sense that we see Tony, he's not Iron Man yet, then we get the Ten Rings, then we get Iron Man.
Fair.
It's a big, like, Phase 4 is not going to just be, and now we're starting a bunch of new shit with no connections. It's like, no. Hold your horses. Here's something that is exactly as old as, the Iron Man movie.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I appreciate that. It's been the plot point that I really thought was going to come up way sooner. I remember way back when I did my first Iron Man discussion being like, oh yeah, the Ten Rings is definitely going to come back. Then I kind of second-guessed myself, and I was like, maybe it was just a comic reference for the comic fans. But then as the MCU has gone on, there's been other references to it, so it's been like, okay. Also, once we got to, like, Iron Man 3 with, like, in the end, the All Hail the King thing, I was like, okay, so this is going to be a bigger thing going forward. Yeah, I know some stuff about the Mandarin. But like, not a whole lot. I know he's a Chinese guy with 10 rings that do magic stuff.
Yeah.
Found him in a plane, or a spaceship crash, or an alien spaceship crashed, or something like that. Something like that.
Very curious to see how they're going to do that, like, in this movie. Or, like, not even that, but, like, what they're going to do. Because I assume there are going to be, like, a literal 10 rings of some sort, in addition to the organization.
I assume we're going to get Mandarin in this. I don't think they would still not do Mandarin.
Yeah.
I think this is we're going to fully wrap up the Ten Rings thing. I also think it's cool that it's not, like, it's a new character that's dealing with this.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cool way to, it's like super old threats, new character coming in. This is also our first movie with a new character since when? When was the last time?
Oh, boy. Well, Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah, because she didn't appear in anything else before Captain Marvel, right?
No.
No other, like, even teasers.
No, she wasn't in a teaser. Wait, no. No, that was the teaser at the end of Captain Marvel. Never mind. I was thinking before then, there was the beeper that Nick Fury activated, but that was just, like, her logo.
Right. Yeah, it's a little bit of a tie-in, but it's not, she didn't appear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, since Captain Marvel. And yeah, that was also like and this has been around since before, Iron Man, before Captain America, before any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Versus this, I imagine it's going to be a more modern day sort of thing. I don't think this is like a period piece or anything.
Same. Yeah, I think this is someone who, like, grew up through the events of the MCU.
Yeah. Literally the only thing I do know about Shang-Chi is that he is like a street-ish level hero. Like, I in the comics on the Marvel Unlimited app, he was, like, listed under a bunch of the Defenders characters. Okay. So I have an idea of, like, that, but that's kind of it. Nothing else there. So I'm gonna guess it's, like, person who accidentally gets wrapped up in this kind of stuff. The Legend is a very interesting part of the title. So that's more interesting. Like, is it gonna be a, like, ancestral legend that was passed down, or is it gonna be uncovering some like ancient legend, maybe not an ancient legend, maybe a modern legend,
Maybe, yeah.
An urban legend. But I mean, this has also been going on for a long time. The Ten Rings also seems to be worldwide sort of thing.
Right. It's
So yeah, but again, they're also don't seem to have a lot of power or sway or anything in the world.
yeah, like they're no Hydra or anything.
Yeah. If anything, they might be like the Red Room thing, where it's like very powerful, but not doing anything with that power, and all in secret, and it can stay in secret because they're not doing anything with it.
I can see that.
Seems like Hydra was in secret for so long because they were pretending to be S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
But like, if they weren't, they probably wouldn't have been doing anything, or they would have been found out.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have that cover organization, then and we don't really have something like that for the Red Room or this. So maybe something like that.
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe just the Mandarin seems to still have a lot of power at the very least. So even if the Ten Rings aren't doing stuff, maybe it's been all happening in Asia, and it was worldwide. Now it's just happening in Asia, and the Avengers just aren't very good at the international stuff. We got into a situation about that, but just in general, most of what they deal with is they don't deal with a whole lot, honestly.
No, I mean the Avengers is like 6 dudes.
Yeah, like the Avengers deal with very huge threats. So if it's not a huge threat anymore, and it's more of like a political problem, then they're probably not going to go in there and handle it, especially after the Sokovia Accords.
And the Red Room made a very good point of part of the reason why we've been super invisible is because of the Avengers. Because if we were to attack an Avenger, the reason we didn't come after you, Widow, for instance, is because if we did that, the Hulk or Thor or someone would just come down and beat all our asses.
Yeah, they avenge.
Yeah, the Ten Rings' big move that we saw in Iron Man 1 was, we're gonna get this rich guy to make us a bomb. So I imagine, even if they're doing more stuff, it's probably, they don't want to get caught, they don't want to be found, they want to just terrorize people who aren't gonna fight back.
Yeah. And again, maybe building up stuff in secret in hopes to maybe, because the Mandarin feels like a big, huge comic character.
Oh,
I mean, he's like the Iron Man rival. So that feels like a big, maybe building up stuff in secret to maybe take on the whole Avengers at some point.
I could see that.
But all having in secret.
Yeah, because I could see this, level of, oh man, if Iron Man were here, then, this wouldn't be going on, but because there's this, power vacuum, maybe that's why the Ten Rings are going to start moving now.
Yeah, something like that, maybe. Yeah, aside from that, don't really have anything to say.
Yeah, can't really think of anything else that's gonna come up.
The movies before used to be oh, let's see how this character becomes an Avenger. Now it's just here's a character. What's an Avenger? Who knows? So there's no how are they gonna tie in with the Avengers and
Yeah, I fully I'm not expecting a Nick Fury or even a what is the name of the lady?
Val?
Yeah, Val. I'm not expecting Val to show up and then go oh, Shang-Chi, would you like to be an evil Avenger?
Yeah. And it's very interesting because the Ant-Man movie is the one where I felt that the most. Where it's this could have just been a movie about a character, but then we also had to have this scene to kind of have an Avengers-esque scene for when he'll eventually get a part of the Avengers. But we don't really have to do that now.
No.
So there's no predicting how are they going to get tied in with the Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh, if we do get the Mandarin, I'm going to guess the Mandarin's going to be a woman as well.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to do Mandarin as a guy.
Okay.
It feels too they're going to go oh, that's overdone. We don't want to do that. And I don't think Mandarin's a character that really anybody's very attached to.
Yeah.
Nobody really gives a shit. So you can really do whatever you want. I hope if we get the Mandarin, it's a very, interesting original take on the Mandarin.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm going to guess woman. I don't know what else specific I would guess besides that. But that's my guess.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's jump into this. If you want to get the full length, check it out on the Patreon below, $4 a month. If you want to get early access, you can also check that out on the Patreon below and get ahead to the next show. What if, multiple episodes ahead, maybe the whole season? I don't know. I don't. Go check. Okay, we are here for the discussion of Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi. What you're saying, when we pronounce it Chi, Shang-Chi, I don't know how to say it now, but he pronounces it Ji.
Yeah.
But either one would be fine then for that one, but Shang is how, close to Sean.
Yeah. I actually really, really love that part. The fact that they had his, American name be Sean as a very clear, you want to go for an but it is an ah.
Yeah. Yeah, but and I appreciate that they had that, like, because I know that, like, that's basically the one thing I knew going into the movie is that everybody pronounces the name wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing I knew going into it, which isn't that surprising for Marvel, to be fair.
I mean, there were just straight up English words that Marvel does. There's like that's not how anyone says this. Why is this a pronunciation?
Yeah. But yeah. So, how do you feel about the movie overall? Again, our first Phase 4 movie with a new character. I mean, our first Phase 4 thing with a new character.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, we've had some new characters, you know what I mean? The main character is new. I don't know why I feel like I need to clarify everything. But anyway,
yeah, honestly, really, really good. Really happy that it is, like, they hit the balance so perfectly of making him feel insanely important and making this something that is genuinely a, like, you know, the entire universe is at stake here situation, without it feeling too, like, MCU-y. I feel like the MCU, you know, has a stereotype of, and now we get the big hole in the sky, and you gotta call in the military, and they shoot the nukes, and oh no, the nukes didn't work!
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate how very, like, otherworldly this is, and how this, you know, like, how this is a situation where we've got our hero who is, you know, like, the only person who can solve this problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had that, like, the only one, which is a big thing in the MCU.
Yeah, which is really, really tough for, like, a universe as it keeps on going further and further. Like, that's one of the big things people, you know, grill every new character with. It's like, oh, well, why doesn't, you know, Captain Marvel come in and deal with this? Why doesn't Spider-Man deal with this? Why do we need a new character?
Yeah. Yeah, doing that for, like, just doing that in general, every time it extends to the universe, the series, whatever, it's harder and harder to justify that.
Yeah, but, you know, like, the flip side of that is, by sticking to that and doing a hard, like, no, there's still a corner of the universe that we haven't done anything with, and that is, you know, the area where this person shines. You make the universe grow more and more and more.
Yeah.
Like, I really appreciate that, you know, the hidden city and the mystery of the 10 rings, all of that is stuff where we do, you know, at the very, very end, have everyone come in and say, like, oh yeah, we have no idea how this works. Like, this is a new thing. We can't deal with this. We're really, really, you know, glad that Shang-Chi here was here to save us.
Yeah.
And even then, it's a big, like, well, we're going to have you on the team because you're going to be a big part in figuring out whatever the hell this is.
And yeah, like, who knows what the fuck that's what's going on with all that shit. And again, it's not like, oh, you're only Avengers now. It's a very, like, we're going to keep in touch. But is he still going to be a busboy? Yeah. Who knows?
Because, yeah, he doesn't have an income right now.
Yeah.
Also, just really appreciated for being a good martial arts movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, you know, the MCU has been long talked about as being, oh, it's breaking new ground because it's not just superhero movies, it's this type of movie and also superhero movie. And, you know, especially with something like martial arts, where a lot of characters in the MCU have some kind of martial arts skills, or, like, you know, they've co-opted some sort of, like, wire work in order to make the characters feel really strong, or do, like, really floaty things. It'd be very easy to, like, when you're actually doing a martial arts movie now, especially something that's pulling really hard from, like, Hong Kong cinema, to make it feel very generic.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad they went hard on making it feel both like a martial arts film and also very much like a MCU-only martial arts film. Like, you know, like with the underground fighting ring and with all the talk about, you know, half the universe got annihilated.
Not a whole lot of talk about that.
I mean, I'm
saying all the talk about that when you mean
it's a lot of it. It's more than I expected.
One line?
Yeah, genuinely. I really thought that, you know, like something like WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I expected those to talk about it. But for something like this, I really thought we were going to go, like, okay, and now we're going to just do a little pocket of the world, and why would we talk about anything else?
No, I definitely expected way more talk about it. Like, this is the minimum of what I would expect. If there is not at least one line every movie talking about, you know, that, then it's just going to be, like, it's still, like, you know, I think the best thing that has, you know, touched on it has been, like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Right.
But, like, you know, aside from that, everything else is probably going to be very surface level, and it's just, Falcon and Winter Soldier is the only thing that's made the snap feel like it mattered in any way. Right. Like it was something to be sad about. Like, most stuff really plays it off for jokes and stuff. Like, this didn't play it off for a joke, but it's so light.
Yeah. Like, I can understand that.
I don't really have any complaints with the movie. That's not even really a complaint. It's more a complaint with the whole MCU in general of just, for the love of God, can we just talk about the snap outside of one TV show?
Right. But yeah, like, I really, that's why I expected there to be no talk about the snap. I figured it was going to be one of those things where it's like, well, if we bring it up, we got to go into a lot of talk about it, and then that's the entire movie.
We never have done that.
I mean, this is the second movie we've seen. It's the first one after the snap.
No, that's not true. Spider-Man was the first one after the snap, and that one handled it awful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that one, to be fair.
That was, like, that's always what comes to mind, or it's just like, ugh. When I remember it's just awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say about that.
Fair enough. But yeah, I guess our expectations were very different on that.
Yeah. Circling back to the, like, whole martial art, I gotta face forward and look at the fucking mic when I'm talking. Good God. The martial arts stuff. We just had Black Widow, which I was, like, thinking during that one, like, damn, I'm enjoying the fights in this a lot more than I normally enjoy MCU fight stuff, because it's usually a lot of, like, heavy CG stuff where that was a lot of practical fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The choreography was very interesting, rather than, like, a lot of big moves and stuff like that. But the fighting in this was also, like, the end stuff, very, very classic MCU. But, like, the fight on the bus. Or on the tram, or whatever that's called. Like, that was some of the best shit we've had since the Winter Soldier, or the Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, like, whenever I see an MCU fight, like, especially since, like, mid-Phase 3 is when this quote came out, I'm always thinking about this very small-name director. By say small name, I mean, probably had some massive hits.
Yeah.
Where she was talking about, like, I've been tapped by Marvel to do a movie, but, the reason I turned it off is because I said, like, I've never done a fight scene before, and I know you're going to want fight scenes. And they said, that's okay, we have a separate, production thing that does all the fight scenes. So you can just write your movie the way you want to, and then we'll slot in fight scenes.
Oof.
And ever since that came out, every time I watch an MCU movie, I do think, like, is this one where they had to, like, slot in fight scenes, or is this one where they feel very natural?
Yeah.
And for both Black Widow and especially for Shang-Chi, like, they feel very natural and very, like, built into what the movie is. Like, for Black Widow, they're all very, like, personal fight scenes, or, like, very built into, the fact that so many of the people in that movie were widows themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas with Shang-Chi, it's just very, very, like, as someone who's seen a lot of very low-budget Hong Kong, like, fight movies, it had a lot of that energy, but not low budgets. But it is very much the, like, here is a very interesting location, and then here we can do this and this and this in that location, and then once that's done, like, we're not going to just linger here for a while.
Yeah, the scaffolding was... Like, I don't know if I like the scaffolding fight more or the bus fight more. They're both so good in very different ways. And, like, I am always a fan of a fight scene where, of course, the main character's not going to die, but I want to be like, it doesn't even matter if they die. Like something like train fight scenes are my favorite thing. Because, like, even if I don't think the character might die, they could fall off the train, they could get hit by something, there's so much things that can happen that's just like, oh, this would normally be a very small injury, but at the speed this is happening, this would be a humongous injury. And, like, that still plays a part in all of it.
Yeah.
And this was something similar. Again, even if the character's not going to die, and the scaffolding would be, like, if you fell, you're just going to die. There's nothing else, there. But, like, that, like, edge of your seat, like, every single movement feels like it's just, puts you on the edge.
Yeah. And I do think it actually is to this film's credit that even though this is a new character, a lot of movies that introduce a new character will then do the big, well, maybe we'll kill them off in this movie. Who knows?
Yeah.
And that makes them feel very weak, because then there have been a lot of scenes where it's like, oh, they nearly died here, or the villain had the gun to their head. That never really happens with Shang-Chi.
No.
Like, throughout the whole movie, we have a very clear built-in reason of, oh yeah, he is the kid of the main villain. That's why, they're not going to assassinate him. But also, like, none of the fights are clear, like, oh, he's gonna die here, until, like, the very, very end. It is, like, I'm on the bus, but they're trying to get my pendant, so that's that's how I lose. Or, my best friend is on the scaffolding, I'm buying time for her to escape, oh no, now she's falling off, I gotta save her. Yeah. Until the very, very end, where it's like, oh, we could all die here. He's not the one in danger. And that gives him a very, like, protagonist-y energy. It is the big, like, it's his duty to save everyone else. He's throwing himself into the fights, into the action, into the danger.
Yeah.
As opposed to being the, like, oh, can he do it? Can he live up to his destiny? Like, until, again, the very, very end. And even then, that is a, like, he's already a badass, but can he become 100 times more badass?
Yeah.
And that's where, like, in reaction, I'm the one going, like, I don't know if he can do it, actually. This is pretty crazy.
And yeah, I can't wait to see him like now having those rings in a future movie. Like they've already got me hooked for that.
Yeah. Oh, also, just a side tangent on the rings. I'm really glad that they went for such a crazy, different sort of thing with the rings.
Yes.
One of the only things I knew about the movie, this is not even a no thing, it was like a pre-production thing, is that I knew that like they were worried about doing the 10 rings as a concept at all, because they were afraid it's going to be too much like the Infinity Gauntlets.
Okay.
Like what it,
sure.
you know, because the original like 10 rings in the comics are each like different ring has a different power, and a lot of them are like, this is the one that shoots heat, and this is the one that shoots ice, and this is the one that makes darkness, and this is the one that controls minds.
Yeah.
Which could feel a lot like the Infinity Stones have done very wrong.
Especially since we didn't really use the Infinity Stones by themselves very much.
Yeah.
Like, there was so little of Thanos using the gauntlet that this might overshadow the Infinity Gauntlet if, you know, he had the actual 10 rings from the comics and stuff.
Yeah, plus, like, the rings are so specific in the comics, so it would be a lot to make you understand. Like, okay, so you can freeze, and you can make ice, and you can teleport. It's like, it's too much. Whereas the rings as they are now, fits super well into the martial arts theme, very easy to intuitively understand, but they also could do so much shit. You know, it ties into the very flowy, fight style of Shang-Chi's mom.
Yeah.
But also, the very direct force of his dad. Also, just, you look at him fight, and it's like, holy shit, I get why you could fight an entire army with this. Without it having to be your classic, I shoot a big energy beam and it kills everyone. Or I summon a drone that kills everyone.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I love the rings, absolutely. Getting to see them, like, in, like, maybe, like, the most we see them used is at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, and then they're kind of used less, but it's like, you get how powerful they are at the very beginning, and you always have that in the back of your head, like, he's not even using his full strength here.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't anything. And then we also get to see new moves throughout it as well, like, different things. Just very, very awesome concept. I love any character that can do I'm just going to punch down, and that's going to make me like fly essentially.
Yeah.
Or like I can slow myself down from a fall by punching. And doing that. Like, just love anything like that. It's so fucking cool. And yeah, the mixing of like very like classic, very practical like Hong Kong fighting stuff, like martial arts movies, and that with like a supernatural element with the rings being this like crazy supernatural power device thing.
Yeah, I know. I've seen like other movies where people have used rings like that, but not in a like I shoot them obviously. Just in a like they're like a bracer essentially. Yeah.
Not something I thought about during the movie at all. I wonder what Shang-Chi was like in the comics because like now in the comics everything gets so MCU-ified that like it's kind of all just. Let's find a way to do what the MCU did in some way. But before all that, I wonder what he was like. Like, I doubt he used these ring things. So
yeah.
Or maybe. How much do you know about Shang-Chi from comics?
I've got like two things essentially. Number one, the main thing I know him from is Spider Islands. He fights some spider people. He works with Spider-Man. He teaches he and Spider-Man come up with the Way of the Spider, which is a martial arts style that uses like his spider sense and like the fact that you can do backflips and you do webs and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. The other thing is that, and this is actually tying into like what they did here with the whole Wenwu thing, is that I know in the comics that his father is what is his name? Fu Manchu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like this is one of those classic. Marvel had the rights to the Fu Manchu like novels, which were very like Asian exploitation, very not good.
Oh yeah.
And they came up with their own character, who is like Shang-Chi, the son of Fu Manchu, who is the awesome good guy who beats the crap out of him.
Okay.
And then they lost the rights to Fu Manchu.
Oh.
And so it is I don't know what they did to fix that, but that was just I think it's just, they did the big, like, oh, that's one of the names I use, but actually, I'm this other evil guy who's exactly the same.
Every time I do, like, tell me about this character in the comics, it's always like, well, so this was the character, and they lost the rights to this thing, or there was a fucking 10-year dispute over it.
You can never do this is everything in universe. There's always something where it's like, okay, now we have to go to the courts.
God, it's
But yeah, like, I haven't seen a lot of, like, actual Shang-Chi doing stuff as a solo character stuff. I just know, like, a very similar vibe to Iron Fist and the like. Like, there's a bunch of martial arts-y characters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to read some comics now.
Yeah. Because, like, I remember when this was announced as a movie, that for me was, that was my version of the way everyone reacted to, like, Guardians. When, it was the big, like, okay, I'm very surprised this is the character where they're like, we can do a multi-million-dollar movie based on this character specifically, yeah?
See, I always would have imagined, like, oh, yeah, Shang-Chi is probably way more popular than Iron Fist. But I guess not.
No.
Yeah, and, to be fair, I've got an Iron Fist hat. I loved the Iron Fist TV show. If you haven't seen a reaction to that, go check them out. There's some disappointing things in Iron Fist, like the fact we don't fucking see the goddamn dragon.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't really see even anything of Kunlun or Kunlun, one of the two. But yeah, like, there's some disappointing stuff in there. But I think there's, it was my favorite. I don't know if it was my favorite episode because Daredevil was so good.
Yeah.
But, like, if I exclude Daredevil, it's like having to exclude the main character when
right.
you're, like, talking about your favorite character. It's like, well, excluding the main series, Iron Fist is my favorite. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I do think, like, based on how, like, some of the things in this movie were similar to some of the lore they set up in Iron Fist, I could see it, like, I could see them connecting them at some points.
Maybe. I mean, it's very loose, but I can see it being connected in some way.
Yeah. This could also be another capital city of heaven.
I don't think you would have to, I don't think, the only connection that you really have is just like, oh, we're both martial artists. I wouldn't want, like, the lore to be connected, like, oh, those are the same place. Because, yeah, it's a little bit too different for it to be connected.
Sure.
It might feel a little bit messy.
Yeah, I can see that.
But, I mean, this movie also handles lore very well. Like, all the shit with 10 rings, you just do a blanket like, that was not the 10 rings.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is a very good way to do that. Like, let's not try and, like, piece all this together, and it's just like, all that happened, and that was not it at all, and now this is actually what the 10 rings are.
Yeah.
This is the person they borrowed the name Mandarin from and everything.
Yeah, I think it's a very clean way to do it, because otherwise, if they tried to tie it in any real way, it would make the 10 rings seem a lot less cool.
Yeah.
It'd be the big, like, well, what was the point of this, or why did you do this thing, or blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And yeah, at the beginning, I was like, I assume Mandarin was going to be in this, but Mandarin's the one character where it's like, I don't know how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so bad of a character, so messed up, and even the name is awful.
Oh,
and it's like, we gotta make that a part of the movie as well. So, yeah, really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also very similar to fair, like, we just finished Loki, and that had maybe Kang in it.
Maybe.
But, we don't actually get his name or anything like that. They're kind of, like, doing the, like, we don't need a huge name for these characters to, like, be as popular as they are. Which, I guess I say that, but that's always been the MCU thing, to be fair.
Yeah. I'd say, the MCU liked before to do the big, we're gonna borrow this name, but it doesn't really have anything to do with what we're doing. We know people are gonna pocket the name.
Yeah. We're gonna say it offhandedly at some point, or not at all, like Samuel Stearns, just like, it's Samuel Stearns.
Yeah. Whereas, like, Wenwu was such a crazy concept for like, a villain in the sense of, like, this is the actual person behind the name that you probably know. But, we're not using that name. In fact, he hates that name. And also, like, the 10 rings that are the thing he uses, totally different from whatever you saw on the news or on Wikipedia. Like, it's such a enormous reinvention. And the fact that he works so well, and he is maybe one of my favorite movie villains at this point.
He's extremely strong.
Yeah, I'm just so happy that they managed to nail someone like him without having to do the big, and also his other name is insert random other villain name.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta get that cred back.
Like, yeah, I absolutely fucking loved him. MCU villains are not known for their being good.
Nah.
There's some, but, like, for the most part, they are known for, like, especially if you're a villain in a movie like this. Like, if you're, if it's not an Avengers movie, something like that. You're gonna show up, you're gonna do some stuff, you're gonna die. Not much of a personality, not a whole lot in the way of motivations aside from wanting power and stuff like that. But yeah, this is very, like, tragic tale of, like, someone who was an awful, horrible piece of shit for, like, thousands of years, and then had one moment of being good, and then one thing goes wrong, and then he immediately relapses back into being an awful, terrible piece of shit.
Yeah, it's
got that, you know, familyness to it of like, even if someone is like, even if someone is extremely awful, if they're a part of like your family and you haven't seen that aspect firsthand, it's hard to like, you know, really remember all that. Especially like when you're in those like, you know, final climactic moments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I totally get all that stuff. Especially because like most of the reason why you would hate him is very personal stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to like all the stuff he's been doing for 1,000 years, because it's like, yeah, who knows? He doesn't probably talk about that shit.
Or even if he does, like 1,000 years is so hard to wrap your brain around in terms of empathy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm really, really happy. When he brings up in one of the flashbacks, like, oh, you know, all of this could be yours. I was really worried we were going to do a big, like, I'm rebuilding my empire and I'm going to give it to you, but oh, you're a hero, you don't want my empire. I'm really glad that, no, the thing that we're focusing on was a very personal, very, like, human connection of just, I want the woman I love back. Yeah. And I 100% believe that this is the way to do it. And, you know, the fact that I'm going to have to kill basically her entire culture, doesn't matter. Don't care. Just want her back. Will she hate me for it? Don't know. Don't care. Want her back. Like, that shows, like, you know, the extreme commitment in his heart that he is willing to burn down everyone and everything he loves, including his entire remaining family, anyone who could possibly be connected to the person he loves, all for the sake of bringing her back when she's, you know, when all he's getting is like, oh yes, please free me from the evil portal thing that says, no, 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 there's a big monster in here.
And I get it, you know. If I heard your voice saying that, I'd do the same thing.
I mean, I probably would. That's the thing. That's the big relatable thing. I can't relate to 1,000 years of massacring people. I can relate to the person I love is in danger, and I can save them.
And it is that classic, like, oh, I am the most evilest man in the world. And then I meet one woman, and I go, maybe being evil isn't what I want to do. Maybe love. But yeah, it's such a classic villain story, but I love it every time.
Oh yeah, and like they don't shy away from still like he is still himself when he's in love with her. Like just the fact that she dies, his now like kid who doesn't have a mom anymore was there, and his thought is like, oh, you could have saved her. Now, I was also getting groceries. Yeah. But I'm not going to think, oh shit, if I were here, I would have saved her. It's like, no. You should have saved her. Or, if we had lived in a different village, this wouldn't have happened. Also, I'm not thinking about your sister because she's a woman.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah, there's so many, like, complex layers to like, him and the why he does the things he does. Like, the relapse being a total excuse to just be that again.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's such a simple character when you break it down, but he just works so well, and the MCU just really hasn't done a character like that. But yeah, and of course he does die at the end, as they all gotta do. I mean, but it's crazy that, like, he does hit so many of the things I don't like about MCU villains. Both he dies at the end. Also, the big, like, he is basically just, he's got the same power set more or less as our protagonist. Even it's actually a bit reversed in the sense in that killing him is how our protagonist gets, like, his extended moveset even.
Yeah.
But still, doesn't matter because there's such a clear explanation of he was doing it first for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, I get it. It feels way weirder when it's like, so we got the hero, and then the villain is someone who gets that exact power set in the movie and is like, oh, I'm just gonna do this now. And I'm stronger than you, actually.
Yeah. Like, yeah, and in fact, it was like, it's not that he needed to beat him in the end. Like, yeah, it wasn't, oh, I have to kill my father, or anything like that. He was prepared to do that. Yeah. But it was like, at the end of the day, he was able to keep his hands clean and just have his soul be devoured instead. It is, always funny when the movies do that, when it's like, this character's prepared to kill this person, but we can't actually have him do that, so we're just gonna have something else happen. But I appreciate it. Also, like, if you do that, I would want the trauma of that to be long-lasting and stuff, but that's also, it's the thing that I want, but it's also not as interesting as them not having to go through the trauma and just having fun. So, I get it.
Also, it comes down to direction for a lot of it. Like, I didn't really... that did happen in the movie, but I didn't really think about it that hard. As opposed to bring up something from Iron Fist.
No.
There's a scene where our main characters who don't kill are literally standing around going like, I hope someone kills the villain, because we can't do it. Can you do it? No, I can't do it. And then one of their allies kills the person in question, and they're like, you motherfucker! I can't believe you did this! But however, afterwards, oh man, I'm so glad they did the kill. Actually, they needed to die. It's just I wouldn't do it. I know you wouldn't do it because we're good people, but they need to die.
The Netflix shows in general, all of them have been very terrible about that shit. Of just like this person needs to die. I can't do it. Somebody else should do it, and that's morally okay. But if I did it, it would be morally bad because I want it to happen.
It's one of those things where, like, if you're gonna do it, you can't have the characters linger on it too much, because the more you talk about it and linger on it, the weirder it is.
Like, yeah, if you know, Shang-Chi at the end was like, oh, thank God I didn't have to do that. It's like the old Batman stuff where there's so much Batman stuff where it's like, you know, bad writing where somebody's like, Batman doesn't kill, but I want this character to die by Batman's hands, so I'm gonna just, you know, do the classic, like, oh, I'm not killing you if I let you fall off this building, that's you killing yourself. But yeah, it's all about how it's presented. And, I didn't really think about it at all during this movie. It's just, you know, one of those tropes I always think about in general.
I get it.
But yeah, Wenwu, absolutely crazy good antagonist. Fucking loved him. Going back to the beginning of the movie, I guess. Just seeing him in this, like, how do I put it? Like, changing his name, trying to reinvent himself in this, like, in America, in San Francisco and stuff, living in, like, a garage, being a busboy, going to high school, after everything that we learn later on the flashbacks. Like, once you get, like, in retrospect, it's like, Jesus Christ, that must have been extremely difficult, honestly. Like, it looks like he's having a lot of fun, and, like, oh, I'm just laxing through life, and, like, not taking it seriously, and it's like, oh, no, you went through hell, and then, you know, you were trying to, you know, be normal and shit. Like, very similar to the Black Widow stuff. You know, of, like, all this, like, from a child being raised to do all this stuff and then breaking away.
And there is that layer of, like, Asian parent expectations on it. Both with, you know, Katie, but also with, you know, Shang-Chi when his dad, you know, says directly, I gave you 10 years. Like, I could have taken you whenever I wanted to. Gave you 10 years, you're a busboy. You could run my empire.
And he still did try to kill him. Like, it was like, I told them they weren't going to kill you. But it's like, but you still told them to try. But yeah, absolutely. It is taking the, like, you know, Asian parent expectations up to 1,000 when your dad is literally trying to kill you because you're not taking out the business, or, you know, wiping out the mom side of the family because, you know, the mom he thinks she's trapped and stuff like that. Like, there's so much that adds to that allegory.
Plus, like, you know, he had to have been training that entire time, because we know when his mom stopped training, like, you know, she was a lot weaker.
Well, I know, I think, like, there is a martial arts style that seems to only be able to be done at Taolo. Like, that's how I took it anyway. We never saw them do it outside of that place.
True. Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that, but I think you are right. Like, it is you can only do it in this place.
Like, we'll see, maybe he'll do some of that stuff at another point, but it seemed like it was only something you could do at that place. But that's just my inference because we didn't see it outside that place. But yeah, who knows? Like, the mom tried to, you know, do that stance and that, but I feel like we would have shown, you know, more of the fight scene if it was. I'm not sure.
I mean, they did directly say that she couldn't do it anymore. Which is why I thought it was just because she was out training. But it would make more sense if it was because she wasn't there, she can't do it.
And like I'm saying, like, she still has the same stances and everything like that, but that does not mean, like, the wind will work with her and everything like that. Like, you can probably still be a really good martial artist, but if you are so used to relying on the elements as well to help you out, then... They don't help you out, but you know what I mean.
Like, being able to work with the elements.
Which, love the whole, like, you know, him being a very fisticuff punchy kind of person like the dad, and then having to be taught the more open palm style, like go with the flow, redirecting the energy and stuff like that. And like, you know, going back to, you were talking about Spider-Man and Spider Island is where he was first introduced to you. I always love also when you have, like, the, you know, martial arts is martial arts because it is as if you're training instincts into your body. And, like, Spider-Man is a very, very instinct-based hero. And so, like, he just kind of naturally, by having the spider sense, ends up doing martial arts, but would never call it martial arts, because it is very amateurish. So it makes sense why he would like teach in that style and stuff like that. And like, I just I like that idea of like the best fighting style is redirecting stuff and martial arts, which is something that you should train at, but is also something instinctual.
Yeah.
Just like, of course it works. Like, we train this way because it works. Like,
yeah, like I'm a sucker for any like martial arts origin of like, oh, we learned this by watching the animals, because there's always some divergence from that. It's like, how do you learn how to move your arms and legs by looking at a snake?
Yeah.
Like, some of this has to be different, but like I love the concept of it so much. Same with the like, we learned this by looking at the moon or looking at the wind. There's just something that makes you want to go like, yeah, obviously the wind knows what it's doing. You ever beat the wind in a fight? No. If you say you did, you're a liar.
Yeah.
Fight like the wind, no one can beat you.
And you know what? If we do ever get like Iron Fist and Shang-Chi like crossing over and stuff like that, like that'll be fascinating too.
Yeah.
Because one is a very like flowing water wind style, and the other one is I make my punch extremely strong. So yeah, if we ever get Iron Fist in the MCU, I would like it to be a passing down the torch to Colleen, though.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. I think that would be a much more interesting dynamic, especially with you would still have Danny around, but like as we have all these other characters still around, even though they're passing down their mantle and everything like that. I just think that would be really cool. Like, if we bring Daredevil into the MCU, it's got to be Matt Murdock.
Oh yeah.
There's the only person like you could pass it down to would be Elektra, but that's not gonna happen. Maybe it would have to be a very different kind of Daredevil.
Yeah, but even then, like, I feel like you couldn't do that as, like, an origin of, like, this is the MCU Daredevil, it's someone else. It would have to be, no, it's this Daredevil, and then they're in, like, a movie or something for a bit, and then we get a successor.
Yeah. Whereas, like, Iron Fist is so not popular that I feel like you could introduce Colleen as the Iron Fist and then explain that a little bit later, and then, like, people wouldn't really be that confused.
I think fans of the series would also just be equally as hyped if it was like, oh, and now we're cutting to Rand Corporation, and Danny's there behind the desk. Yeah.
And you can't really pass down the title of Jessica Jones or Luke Cage to somebody else.
You are the new
name.
Jessica Jones.
Like, yeah, I know in the comics Jane Foster takes up the mantle of Thor. That's a little tiny bit different, especially in the comics.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, Jessica Jones definitely can't. Luke Cage, again, not his actual name.
There could be another Luke Cage.
There could be another Luke Cage.
You are now Luke Cage.
But I highly doubt it. But, yeah, for Iron Fist, I think it would be cool to pass down to Colleen. But yeah, that's just something that I absolutely want to see in the future.
Yeah.
Like, if we just get Daredevil and the MCU stuff going forward, I'm going to be pretty sad. I would want all of them.
Yeah.
You can keep Punisher, but if we get Punisher, let it be the Daredevil Punisher and not the Punisher the Punisher.
Yeah. Incidentally, one of the things I always think about with these like new factions is, where were they during the final battle of Endgame? And I appreciate this is a very simple, the people in the village were in the village in another dimension, why would they have come?
Yeah.
The Ten Rings are terrorists, why would they have come? Easy peasy, don't need to think about it past there.
I mean, why would anybody come to the final battle in Endgame? What do you mean?
Because,
like, who would know about it while it's happening?
I mean, Doctor Strange did his big portals and contacted a bunch of people, like the fucking Ravagers. Why would the Ravagers know?
Yeah, I guess I thought everybody coming through portals was everybody who was snapped.
I mean, that's half the universe.
Yeah, but still, like, they weren't, like, I guess that's good, but, like, why the Ravagers? Because the Guardians. I don't know how he got the Ravagers. Okay? I don't know it. I'm gonna answer that one. But all the other ones are people that were already involved with this shit. Like, it's not like the Sorcerers were around fighting, Infinity War and shit like that, but, like, it's easy to it's easy to contact them. I mean, also it's Doctor Strange, so of course you would get the Sorcerers. But still, you get the point.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I don't think Doctor Strange knows the Ravagers, so I don't think he was the one who contacted them.
He made the portal.
I mean, it was probably, what's his...
Kraglin?
Yeah, Kraglin. Kraglin's probably like, hold on, let me call the Ravagers.
Fair enough.
But yeah, or any of them. Peter could have just done that, maybe. But either way, yeah, I don't think Battle Endgame's a bad one.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what a better one would be, but like,
yeah, because that can also just express, you can extend that to why weren't they in X and Y, and yeah.
And there's not really much of an issue with that in the MCU in general.
Not really. Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's been like 1 or 2 times for questions, where has this person been? I mean, the biggest one is, where was Captain Marvel during literally everything that's ever happened in the MCU? Like, where was she? Call her!
No. Nick Fury said no.
Like,
and then she went back and became God.
It's too, like, we don't have an answer for why she wasn't there. What was she doing?
Yeah. Like,
what'd she get interrupted with this time? What are you doing, Captain Marvel?
No, I do think we definitely need a quick, like, this is what she was doing in this period, and this is kind of what she was doing in this period, just to tie it up, because, yeah.
Like, yeah, the other big one we always talk about is, what was Cap doing, post-Civil War? But, like, now we have an inference for that. He could have been helping with the other Widow shit, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. And now I think Black Widow was also involved in that stuff. But like, that's the only thing that's like a maybe that.
Yeah, but everything else is just like they were in a portal in space or whatever. Yeah.
I would like just like MCU or sorry Disney Plus one shot that is just the shit we've said but never shown.
All connective tissue.
Yeah, name it All Connective. That's a good name. Just one shot connective tissue. But yeah, like, we're kind of missing that. We had a lot of stuff like that for Phase 1, and, like, we're just kind of missing that now.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. So, where do we go from here?
How do you feel about Katie?
I liked Katie a lot,
I was expecting to not like her because I thought we were setting her up as the ineffectual character relief. As opposed to Trevor Slattery, who is the ineffectual character relief.
Yeah, man. Trevor's whole thing in this movie... so weird. Like, I really liked him. I don't have anything wrong with it, but it's the most, it feels like, were you put in here at like the last minute or something? Like, you could take him out and you could just have the animal and not Trevor and it'll be the same movie.
Yeah, it would still be like, okay, because I'm connected to the village or something, I can see that the animal wants us to go back.
Yeah.
As opposed to insane actor man.
Yeah. But at the same time, you gotta have Trevor. Now that I've seen him in it, it's like, how would they do this movie without that?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta have... I mean, like, to be fair, I guess Winwoo explains it enough. Like, yeah, he didn't really need to. But we kind of already touched on it, so I guess they didn't need him.
Yeah, they could have just rewritten it a bit. So.
Yeah. But, yeah. Funny? But yeah, I don't have anything wrong with it. It's just like I'm so curious about the meta stuff, and I want to look that up after this.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, about 39 minutes ago, I was on Wikipedia, and the one thing I did see was that his actor brought up that wanting to be in the movie, Ben Kingsley.
Yeah.
Because he was still like, me being the Mandarin, or impersonating the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, still felt a little weird, like a little bit racist.
Yeah.
Like, even with the explanation we had of we didn't want to do, a racist caricature, so instead I was an actor playing one. He was still like, it still felt weird, so I wanted to do this. So we could just dunk on it a little bit.
And yeah, he is a good addition. Like, it's so weird to say he's a good addition to the movie because he's in so little of it.
Yeah.
He's barely a part of it. Like, John might have more scenes than he did. But I really liked what we got, and him just being like, oh, you were, like, before we were like, oh, he is on so many drugs during this thing. And, like, in prison, it was like, okay, so you're just like that. And this is like, oh, you were like that even before all this.
Oh, yeah. He still doesn't know how they did the monkeys.
He knows how they're done. Acting.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, liked that. Liked all the animals we got and some mythical creatures and stuff like that. You named one of them at one point. Were they from like actual mythology or do you mean from the comics?
Oh, they're all definitely from actual mythology. I didn't see anything besides our final boss that was directly from the comics.
Okay.
But yeah, like Kieran are like Chinese dragon horse things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I know the big guys that were protecting them were also, like, those are those, like, carved protectors that you see on all sorts of,
I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be, like, oh, it is literally that, or if they were going for, like, a sort of play on it. Like, I didn't know, I couldn't picture in my head what the actual ones looked like. But the little fuzzballs with the wings...
Oh, I actually don't know what those are.
Because, like, that... As soon as I saw it, I was like, that looks so fucking familiar. But, like, I don't know if that's from actual mythology or just because I might have saw something from this, maybe.
Maybe. I'm pretty sure they're from actual mythology, but I don't know what they are.
I don't know. They look fantastic, though. And again, it was just, like, instant, like, I have seen this somewhere before.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, just so cool.
Yeah.
Actually, talking about the final boss, the big mythical creature, the Dweller in Darkness. Just as a small side tangent, we've been playing the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Is that where that was from?
Yeah.
I was like, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it has a small cameo situation in there.
Where was it in Guardians of the Galaxy? I assume it was one of Lady Hellbender's thing.
Yeah, Lady Hellbender brings it out as like her ultimate pet for that boss fight. It's a big tent-leaf thing.
Yeah, so we did see the giant. It looks quite different.
Oh, I mean, two very different takes.
Yeah.
Like, the one in that game, just kind of a tentacle monster, very alien, as you might imagine. This one, very much based on like a Western dragon, which I like, with the big, Eastern dragon is a protector of good. Western dragons tend to be scary monsters that burn down villages.
Yeah.
But, this one's clearly tentacly and eldritch and from another weird dimension. Comic book Dweller in Darkness, the one I'm familiar with. Like most eldritch abominations / unknowable beings in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, I know where it's going.
Big tentacles on top, big buff guy immediately here.
Yeah.
Just big buff guy.
Mm-hmm.
He goes,
of course.
I'm the Dweller of Darkness. I control your fear.
The MCU is just like the most you can get to the most H.P. Lovecraft shit ever, and it's just a giant buff dude. Every time, just Cthulhu, just giant buff dude.
Now, there's almost always the out of, this is how your mind perceives it. So if you think about it, you / anyone fighting them go like, oh, Galactus? You mean, unspeakable abomination? Also, big buff dude, actually. That's what my mind is thinking. I'm thinking big buff dude.
But yeah, very interesting take on it. I mean, different than a buff dude with tentacles.
Yeah, I was really like, when they brought up the concept of the gate and, maybe there's something back there. I mean, they first brought it up as your mom's back there, which is the real, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, do they have an actual gate to heaven or something?
Yeah.
Once we got the big, like, oh no, there's something scary there, that's still like, I don't know what the hell this could possibly be. This could be, anything. So, very cool pull, very cool design. Love just, the concept of, also, the fact that they mentioned, like, yeah, this is a small village, but there's a lot more.
Yeah.
It's just, like, we are the village that's presumably here to stop that thing from opening up. But if you you look back there, it's actually, giant civilization, massive, super cool.
Well, not anymore.
True, most have got annihilated. But even
I think the village is the only thing left.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they say there's more back there.
Did they? Let's look at the movie, because I don't remember that. Okay, like, yeah, I assume you probably take it either way.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with you. She does say, like
we have.
Yeah, but then she also implies no longer. Like, at least to me.
Okay.
Because she says, like, we have, cities that are bigger than any city you've ever had on Earth. And, we lived in prosperity and peace and everything like that. Then the Dweller in Darkness came and destroyed all of our largest cities.
Yeah.
So, they may have more space than this, but I don't think they have any cities.
See, I definitely take that as, like, we have cities that surpass anything in your universe. Like, otherwise you would have said, we had, and then that would lead into, like, this is the reason why we don't anymore.
Yeah. I agree with you, maybe, but that would also be crazy, because then, like, they don't put a lot of emphasis on, we have cities that are greater than any cities you have on Earth. We had enormously way larger cities than that. Like, that's I can't even imagine. My brain cannot wrap around how big the cities must have been then.
Right.
But, like, they don't put a lot of emphasis on that.
Right.
If that is the case.
Yeah, I can see that.
And just for the fact that, they bring up, like, we have cities that are bigger than yours, and then all of our largest cities got demolished, feels like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can read it as either we don't anymore, or, like, yeah, as you said, our cities before were even better than that.
Yeah. I don't know where they would be. Like, where would the cities be?
I mean, just, like, further away.
But, like,
if this is a whole ass dimension, then, like, this is, like, one island, and then saying, well, there's like New York over there, but you can't see it.
So, like, the forest wouldn't kill you leaving?
Like, I would presume that, if you went across the water or something, like, the forest is how you get to Earth. But if you went any other direction, you just go into more of Talo.
Okay, because it looks like this place is like a dead end. Like, there's the bamboo forest, this village, the cave.
Yeah.
And so it's like, where else would it be? because like they're surrounded on all sides by the bamboo forest and the water and the cave.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, I can't picture in my head where you would even go to get to the cities.
Yeah, and I do agree. Like, if the cities do exist, we gotta see them.
Yeah.
But we can't do a TV show thing of like, listen, we got all this cool shit, but we can't show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I can also understand why they wouldn't want to do that in the first movie.
Yeah.
As a big like, we'll show you that shit later, but right now, this is the stuff you should be like focusing on.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's probably out there. It's just weird to me. Like, I don't know where it would be placed. I don't know why she would phrase what she said the way she said it, but I do agree there probably is, other cities and stuff like that out there. But also, where were they? Call them in. Say, hey, get your ass over here.
I mean, if they don't have the dragon shit, then I guess they wouldn't really help.
I feel like they would. Why would they not?
I mean, like, I don't think they could help if they don't have the dragon shits.
Why?
Because they only have so much dragon shit, and like, what happens?
Why do they need the dragon shit?
Because it's the only thing that destroys the dwellers.
Well, don't call them after the dweller gets escaped. Call them when you're trying to stop the people who are trying to do that.
I mean, they don't have phones.
You don't know that. They have cities larger than our comprehension, and they don't have phones. You kidding me?
We got places here that don't have phones.
Do it One Piece style. Pick up a snail, scream into it. They've got to have some way of communicating. And if they don't, send one person running.
I mean, they didn't get there in time. There's so much shit happens in the on Earth in the MCU where it's like, yeah, we could call someone else, we didn't.
I mean, normally it's because it happens so fast. I think they had a lot of prep time. They knew way ahead of time when he was coming. They knew the exact date and time he was coming.
Fair.
They could have called in some reinforcements. I feel like, even if they don't really know exactly what they're doing.
Fair enough, because also
Katie didn't know what the hell she was doing. She started firing a bow and arrow, and she was okay.
Yeah.
If they had enough time to train her, one of these people could pick up a bow and arrow. Okay.
And to be fair, what you're saying is, fighting Wenwu. Which is
10 rings mainly.
Yeah,
I'm not
which is
don't go grab somebody off the street and tell them to attack Wenwu. Yeah. But
yeah, like that is functionally different than like what I was thinking is like you can't just grab random people from this dimension and have them fight the Dweller in Darkness.
Yeah.
But that was not what was on the table. What was on the table was the 10 rings are going to attack us, and that's something. Yeah, you could definitely just beat them back, and it's like it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I mean if they don't even want to run fast enough, we got a car. Take the car. We got a lot of solutions here.
I mean, this is one of the only MCU movies I can think of that takes place, over a span of time.
Yeah.
And that they do this distinctly say when Shang-Chi and Katie meets with their friends. That is, they do it once at the start of the movie. They do it once at the end. At the end, they specifically bookmark it as that. 2 weeks ago, you were driving cars.
Yeah.
So this movie takes place over 2 weeks, which I do think, like, it does introduce this complication of, like, well, they had so much time to do shit. But also, I appreciate that it's not another movie where it's like, and the entire thing took place in one day.
Yeah, like, this is one of the where movies, it's like, it's not like, where were the Avengers? It's like, where were the rest of you if there are the rest of you?
Yeah.
And, yeah, so, like, also, when she says, our people stayed here to protect the gate, does that imply that, like, a lot of the people of Talo have, martial arts background stuff, like, know something like that? Or is there, like, a separate, like, when she means our people, she means the people of this village?
Yeah.
Like, not even, like, at a family, like, our people, but, like, our village, or our people in a village sense. I'm not sure. But, yeah, it's the only one that's, that there is something like that. Because, yeah, most of the MCU movies is, like, well, of course the Avengers aren't around because they wouldn't know about it in time. Like, even when it's a huge scale thing like Dark World, where the fucking, elves are coming to take over the world, and it's like, well, yeah, but that happened in, like, an hour, and it's like, well, how are you gonna, get them down here in time?
And yeah, like, this is not a Shang-Chi exclusive problem. Like, I got the same problem about Doctor Strange, where as we were watching the movie, it's like, there's, like, 3 sorcerers in existence.
Yeah.
And then we see categorically later, no, there's a lot of sorcerers. Just none of them wanted to do anything.
None of them wanted to do anything. Like, they were probably all in one, or they're all, like, in Carmitage. But, like, none of them are at the fucking Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yeah.
Like, they're just... Is Sanctum Sanctorum the name of the main one, or is that the name of all of them?
I believe it's the 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just like one person in each of them, and it's like, where the fuck were you people?
Yeah.
You have instant portals. It's better than a cell phone.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So it's not a Shang-Chi exclusive problem. And that is if they have, a bunch of other people as well.
Yeah, it could have been misstated.
And again, there might be like to even go to another, one of those cities, we gotta wait for the trees to open up in a certain way or whatever. Could be many things.
Yeah.
But yeah. What else? What the fuck were we talking about?
If you go back far enough, we're talking about Katie.
Right, Katie. I liked Katie.
Same. I've heard Awkwafina on podcasts and stuff. Never actually seen her do in acting at all. So really happy to see her acting. Really good actress. Holy shit.
Yeah. I know she's very popular in a ton of stuff. I know she's in a lot of stuff. But yeah, don't really never seen her in anything else besides this. Just recognize the name, which is really my case with so many people in the MCU. Where it's just I am not a movie person. Or really much, I watch a lot of TV, but it's a lot of comedy TV. I don't watch a lot of, heavy drama stuff or older stuff. So I don't know most big-name actors in any way whatsoever. But yeah, Katie did a great job. Like her voice a lot. So, I like, she looks very young, but it's a very, very, raspy kind of, smokery voice.
Yeah, very distinctive.
And yeah, just a good, play to, a good, what am I trying to say? They had a good dynamic. Very, very great dynamic. Loved it. His sister as well played a great part without being a huge part of the movie.
Yeah.
She's a very silent, strong character in the background. There's a lot going on with her in the movie, and it's all excellently done, but it's not a big heavy speaking role and stuff. That's very cool. And again, we're setting her up for stuff in the future.
Yeah, I do really love the dynamic of, Shang at the very least had the clear, I don't have to pick up my father's empire, and so I'm just not gonna run away. Whereas hers was the big, I can't I can't do anything with my father's empire because he won't let me because I'm a girl.
Yeah.
So fuck it, gonna start my own empire, and then at the end of the movie, gonna take over the Ten Rings.
And, we don't really touch on it much, but it's fucking terrible to have, oh, my brother was forced to do all this training that was hell and torture and awful, and I was jealous of that, so I trained and did it better and got stronger, and it's oh, fuck me. I've seen that in a few other things, but man, it hit hard in this one.
Yeah.
It's just so tough to be obviously that's a fucked up thought to have. Man, I'm jealous of this torture. But at the same time, it's understandable why she would have that and why she still holds that to this day.
Yeah, when the only way your father shows attention to anyone is fucked up torture, then it's well, if you want attention, you're gonna want the fucked up torture. Because then it's well, I'm not even getting that. Now he just doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Oh boy. It's rough.
Family dynamics.
Glad, well, as you said, again, more family in the Phase 4. Really touching on that. Even, once again, this was touching on, what does it mean to be, not the role specifically, but, what does it mean to be a protector?
Yeah.
Having these rings gives him great power that you could use for good or evil, blah, 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 stuff like that. We still have that energy in this movie, even though it is an origin. And hell of an origin.
Also, just how grounded, even the people of the village are, in the sense of, one of the reasons why they didn't want Wenwu to come, to live with them, was the big, people who hate you are going to come after us.
Yeah.
It is this hard, we're not so cocky that we think that the forest protects us. It does, but it's also, this automatic thing.
Yeah.
At some point, the fucking Iron Gang, the no-names that beat the crap out of his, wife and killed him, that could happen to the village at some point. And, they don't want to risk it. They're not going to go well, of course we'll let you in. No one can beat us. We've got the best weapons and the best fighters in the world. It's no. Why would you take the risk?
Yeah. Fully get that.
Yeah. Combined with the fact that, he got the bad vibes. I'm sure they saw from a mile away, no. If this person who we all love wants to marry you, that's her choice. But we can tell you got the bad vibes. We don't want you here.
Yeah.
Don't 10 rings us.
Oh, yeah.
Don't start training assassins.
I would not fucking let him in. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You got 1,000 years of bad luck.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck that shit.
As you said, every faction has shaped the course of human history.
Yeah. How, what else can we do? Everybody's been doing this shit.
one or two more factions more, and they're gonna have to give me a spreadsheet of, well, obviously you didn't do, the Gulf War, because we know how that was Hydra, and we know you didn't, destroy the Ottoman Empire, because that was Mandarin. So, like, you gotta give me the exact ones that you did.
Yeah.
Or, like, did Hydra do this, and then you countered that? Because I'll buy that.
And then, of course, I mean, like, if you want to go into TV show stuff, too, we got The Hand. We got Leviathan from Agent Carter. Like, those are also organizations that have shaped history throughout thousands of years. There's too many ancient people in this world. No immortality allowed. Stop with the immortality.
The history books must be insane.
I mean, I highly doubt they're going to touch on that stuff.
They're all not in the history books.
Yeah.
But I mean, if some of the stuff comes out, imagine the rewrites.
I mean, like, do kids have to learn about the Hydra actually caused most of human history? Like,
yeah, because we know, like, in the modern MCU timeline, they do, like, have to learn about stuff like, and then this was the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. So do we have to go all the way back?
Yeah.
Is Shang-Chi gonna have to do a thing where he's like, here's my tell-all book, here's all the shit my dad did that he told us about?
I imagine it would be in the history books, because right now history books are pretty fucked because America doesn't like to admit what it did. But also, this would be America going like, oh, thank God it wasn't us? Oh, shit, we thought it was us the whole time. Turns out it was Hydra. Turns out it was 10 rings.
I feel like a lot more of that stuff just wouldn't be written in, because so many empires would have to say, and then there was this guy with rings, and he just beat the shit out of all of us.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of that being redacted by historians as like, well, obviously this has to be a lie. We're just going to rewrite this so it was white people.
But I mean, like, yeah, this is the one where it's like, this was not a secret thing.
No.
This was not secret in any way. How do people not know about this? Like, yeah, like, you would think if you're, going through a bunch of culture stuff and, like, all across the world people are talking about the man with rings that beat their ass, I'd be like, well, fuck, what the hell is that? That'd be scary as shit.
Yeah. Who's the guy with the rings?
I mean, that is the classic, like, every empire falls eventually, and it's like the most literal, like, every empire falls eventually because some guy with rings comes and is going to beat our ass. At some point in America, someone with rings can come over here and whoop our ass.
If that comes out, that's gonna make Shang-Chi as a character so much scarier to everyone.
Oh, no.
If he's like, oh, you know what these are?
Oh, no.
Your ancestors, these beat the shit out of them. I'm sorry about that, but I'm gonna beat you anyways.
Oh, God. Yeah, that would be terrifying.
The rings on the Olympic flag? Me.
Oh, no. Oh,
no. You're the other ones. I don't know what that means.
Where to go?
I do want to say, it's so interesting. We brought it up multiple times in the movie that we've got Razor Fist, who is like the second in command.
Yeah.
And then we have the person who you would think would be second in command, who has the mask, whose name we never get.
Is Razor Fist second in command? Did they ever say it?
They never say it, but like narratively, he's treated like the second in command in the sense that
he doesn't ever give any commands or anything to anybody.
Yeah, but whenever we cut to like. It's either Wenwu, and then it's Razor Fist, and then it's everyone else.
Yeah.
And then the guy with the mask shows up like a bunch, but he dies just like as one. I think like the first person to get his soul sucked.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. Mm-hmm. Like he shows up here and there, but it is never in a oh shit, it's the person who like trained Shang-Chi or the one who beat him with the stick. It is oh shit, it's Razor Fist, and then oh it's that guy with the mask. Oh never mind, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, and it felt like they were like oh Razor Fist is lower and this guy's even more scary, and so they were like building up to the movie, and then just like whoop. Like, didn't have an actual, like, big fight scene or anything like
that. I'm really curious. Like, even got the soul sucked out, so I don't know if you can do anything after that, but it feels like, that's a character.
I mean,
like,
it's the most, like, when are we going to use this character again? Let's just throw him in here and kill him off. People will go, oh, it's that guy!
Which is truly one of the first times in the MCU where I can't say, and by the way, that character is well, I have no idea who that is. Zero idea who that is. Also, genuinely zero idea who Razor Fist is. Razor Fist, just from the name, it feels like I've seen this guy fight Spider-Man at some point, but I can't understand.
What? Who was he? He's the only one that's not Chinese. Who was he? They specifically call it that he's Romanian.
Yeah. And yeah, it's strange because, like, in the montage at the very, very start when we see, like, how the Ten Rings have shaped history, we do see a couple, like, non-Chinese, members of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, because they were international.
Yeah, like, they are international.
Well, no, because that was a fake one.
No. in the intro, there's no way they would have shown the fake one.
But but we don't know that it's fake yet.
I mean, why would they show it in the intro then?
Because we don't know that it's not fake, so we think it's real, and then later on we learn that was fake.
Let's do a look.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
So I want to see if they were doing stuff that we would assume is fake.
But yeah, I would say like the sniper is the only one that's like definitely probably not Chinese.
Yeah.
Definitely probably not. I mean, he could be half and half,
Sure.
But like,
yeah, fair.
But still, like, I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, I don't get that part. I don't understand that part either. Because I'm not really sure what part of it was fake.
I mean, the one part we were told was fake was Iron Man 3, yeah?
Right. But also Iron Man 1 and stuff, right?
I don't know. I feel like the only part they said was Iron Man...
When did he talk about it? Let's look at that again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it is just Iron Man 3. I completely misread that. I thought that, the whole thing was, every bit of it we saw in the West was fake.
Right.
But, no, not the case.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I completely misinterpreted that for the entire movie.
Oh, no!
But, I mean, not like it really mattered.
Yeah. Better to clear it up now.
But yeah, so they were an international organization. They did, do all the stuff that we learned about. We learned a lot about what the Ten Rings did in Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much that's fake.
Yeah, that was appropriated. But we don't know if that was he's talking about all the shit that everyone would know actually happens or not.
Yeah. So, not exactly sure what the Ten Rings actually did throughout history, other than what we were told in this movie.
Yeah,
but
and probably Iron Man 1. Like the cell that kidnaps Tony.
What about it? Oh, that's real?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so, misinterpreted that. Why did we bring this up? What were we saying?
It was because, of course, Razor Fist.
Yeah.
I was getting to the idea of, if they wanted the Ten Rings to be more, we have lots of connections everywhere, and so, we've gone from being very, very Chinese to, people from around the world now work here. Mm-hmm. I would imagine that we would have more than just Razor Fist.
Yeah.
But if we're doing the opposite of, no, most of the operatives around the world are still, ethnically Chinese, but, they go out, then they come back, then I would assume, we wouldn't have the person who feels narratively like the big cheese in the middle to be Iron Fist. Or, sorry, Razor Fist.
Yeah.
Iron Fist completely different. But yeah, so, it feels really weird for it to be just one guy.
Oh, yeah. Don't understand the logic there.
Yeah. It also just, it implies a story, but not in a, and I think we're gonna get that. Mm-hmm. It's just more of a, well, there gotta be some reason why he lost the arm, and then somehow managed to get into the Ten Rings, and he's got this, cool gimmick, and he's trusted to go fight, Shang-Chi and get the pendants.
Yeah. I mean, just, why not make him another Chinese guy?
Yeah.
Why not? Why do that at all? Why go out of your way?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. No clue. That probably would be my only gripe with the movie. Razor Fist. Everything to do with Razor Fist. Don't understand it. Every time it happened, it was like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really my only gripe. But yeah, whoa, boy. We are so scattered. As always, every time we can finish talking about something, I always have to go, okay, where are we going next?
Yeah, so we've gone through most of the list of characters I can think of.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
John, cool. I like that he's going to stick around as a part of, what was her name? The sister? Xialing? That's how you would say that, right? Xialing? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, part of her organization that she's going to be sticking around.
Yeah. I mean, just truly adore the concept of the underground fight ring.
Yeah.
Because, we see, there's a sorcerer in there that isn't, there's someone with Extremis. There is...
no, there wasn't a sorcerer in there. That was Wong.
That was Wong. No. Before then, I think we saw, someone who looked like a Black Widow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's, of course, the person with Extremis. Then, obviously Wong and Abomination. Well, that's something. Unlike Razor Fist, Wong and Abomination feels like we're gonna get, something there. Not like a flashback, but just
we don't.
Yeah.
See, I don't, I'm the opposite, Razor Fist, has to come back up in some way, because he's also still around.
Yeah.
But, the Wong and Abomination thing might not come back up. It might, but this was we're never going to use Abomination again, probably. Let's use him here to, have a connection. I would love if Abomination did come back and stuff like that, but...
Because I took it kind of in the opposite way of, in the same way that when we started the movie, or before we started the movie, I was like, I love the idea of using the 10 rings, because that's a big, hey guys, guess what, MCU's still around, we're doing something that was there from the start.
Yeah.
In the same way, I think Abomination is a really interesting flex, because I remember a lot of people, when we got Endgame, not even Far From Home, when we got Endgame, a lot of people immediately said, the MCU is garbage, because they didn't bring back X or Y, or like, Black Widow is, dead, or like, Hawkeye is still alive, why didn't they kill him off, because the movies are over?
Yeah.
Why didn't you kill everyone off?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the Abomination coming back as a big, like, listen, we didn't forget about him. He's back. The fact that he mutated more, presumably, is interesting. That's the thing where I'm like, I feel we gotta get some backstory on that.
And, like, why is he mutating in that way and not, like, a Hulky way?
Yeah, like, did he spend a lot of time underwater or something?
Yeah, like, are they going to give an MCU explanation for it, or are they going to not? Because, like, it's from the Incredible Hulk. We already have Bruce looks very different from the Incredible Hulk. Hulk looks very different from Incredible Hulk. So why can't we do that with Abomination?
Yeah.
And, like, make it closer to the comic thing. But I will definitely say, and this is probably the case, only ever been the case with this, I do not like the comic design for Abomination. I really loved the original MCU design for Abomination.
I can understand that.
Every time I see Abomination in anything, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot it fucking looks like this. The comics, it's so stupid. It's not. I like the design actually. I want to say I do like the design. I don't like it for Abomination. It's two fish. It's two fish. Why is it? It should be a Namor villain. But
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I can really say for it against in a more objective way, just because I got the big nostalgia. It's just like, yeah, I've seen this design a bunch.
Yeah.
It was the big, like, in the moment, I was like, oh, it's Abomination, and you, very logically, were like, no, that's not what Abomination looks like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I fully agree, like, yeah.
But I know why you said it, because I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, obviously this looks like Abomination from the comics, but that's not who this is.
Yeah. But yeah, excited to see more of both of them. Also Wong, of course, everyone loves Wong.
Oh, yeah.
And just the concept, like, just the idea of, like, over the past, like, however long it's been since they've met. Because Abomination has to have had his own story since Incredible Hulk. Like, he's probably gotten out of prison. Like, even if he didn't break out, it's been so goddamn long. He probably's gone out naturally.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's like, where did he go? How did he meet Wong? Why is Wong, like, training him now? Like, if we get Abomination in a, like, another Hulk thing or another, like, big, strong, punchy guy thing, does he know martial arts now?
Yeah.
Like, such an insane mix. Something I really want to see in other things, like just other characters that, learn a bit of magic or learn a bit of this or that. Because it's kind of stuff where, like, you'd imagine that would bleed out into the universe, and, like, that happens in the comics. It hasn't happened as much in the, in the MCU, but that's because, there's only so much stuff.
Yeah.
And I think we're
finally
finally...
so much time.
Yeah. And also, like, in early stuff, I think they'd be too scared. It'd be too, like, oh, no, we gotta explain this very in-depth.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, now, they've got way more of a universe out there, and they've got so much time that's elapsed, I feel like it's way safer to then be like, yeah, I Googled how to do this. Or, like...
how to do magic.
Or, like, Chitauri stuff, it started off as a big, like, the tech is there, but how do you figure it out? Whereas now I imagine you can probably just wiki how to use Chitauri tech.
I don't know, I don't feel like Chitauri tech is that, out in the open and stuff like that.
Maybe not that out in the open.
It was pretty underground, and then it all got confiscated. But yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And, like, I like the idea so much of a rehabilitated Emil Blonsky.
Yeah.
It's very curious, like, what his personality is going to be like now and everything.
Because, yeah, that's such a definite statement of, anyone would assume, the moment we see him, even though it's been, like, 15 years, including the, time skip, like, he would be exactly the same, because that's what everything does. You never miss a beat. No one develops in the meantime. This is such a weird, like, weird in a good way thing of, like, no, he's developed, and we're not even going to show you the base of how he did it. It's just he's in this arena fighting Wong, and then afterwards, by the way, Wong is training him. This is not a, like, they both just happened to meet up here.
Yeah.
And just the fact that, we see so much Wong and that he's doing shit and he seems like the most important character right now.
Yeah.
Like I love it.
I'm glad. I feel like we have got to be building up to Wong becoming Sorcerer Supreme fairly soon.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, at this point, who likes Doctor Strange more than Wong? Like...
Yeah, and, like, again, he was almost certainly Sorcerer Supreme during the, the snap area.
Yeah.
Like, so why...
Which, as we know, was much better than the world is now. So I have to imagine he was doing better shit.
Yeah, so, like, And Steven doesn't seem like the kind of person who wants to be Sorcerer Supreme. Like,
no.
He was a trainee, and then at the very end of Doctor Strange, it was like, well, the previous Sorcerer Supreme is dead, so I guess you got it.
Yeah.
But it never felt like a big, and he wants to do this, and he's obsessive about it. He's, working to make sorcerers better in any way.
Yeah.
It was just sort of like, well, he's there now. I think it would honestly fit him a lot better if Wong was the Sorcerer Supreme, and he was the really, really strong guy who, is more of a maverick and can do stuff on his own.
And he's just so much of an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, God, he's just the worst. Like, he is like a copy of Tony, but none of the redeeming qualities. He's just like not good, and like not like he's not fit for the role of Sorcerer Supreme. If you're Sorcerer Supreme, you gotta be heroic in some way.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange is just not that.
Yeah, like, Tony is the kind of person where, like, he's been the CEO of Stark for, ages and ages and ages. I've never really felt like he should be, because he's the guy who, makes cool tech stuff, and he wants to do stuff himself, and he's really shitty at being a CEO. It's like, why should he be the CEO? Someone else should do that. Same thing with Doctor Strange, because they're so similar.
Yeah.
It's a real, like, why do you give all the responsibility to someone who doesn't want to do the day-to-day stuff, when there are people out there who would love to do the day-to-day stuff and would do it really well, and you could have the guy who wants to just go out and punch people and do cool shit, just do that.
Yeah.
Like, James Bond doesn't run MI6, because why would he?
Exactly. Like, yeah, why would you want... Yeah, you just... it's a bad position to be in for that kind of person. And, like, it is totally an MCU problem. It's not a comics problem. In the comics, from the very, very start, Iron Man, piece of shit. Doctor Strange, very good person. Heroic character. Why do we not have any of that energy? Why is he such an awful asshole?
Yeah, and the MCU is, it's stretching into the feeling of we don't have to maintain a status quo, or, like, we can make a new status quo, we can do new shits. Yeah, I fully believe Wong could be Sorcerer Supreme.
And it would be much more fun. It would just be... What I want out of Sorcerer Supreme is someone fun.
Yeah, honestly,
not someone, like, the absolute driest motherfucker on the planet. But yeah, that's just...
But yeah, also really appreciate that, branching off from Wong to, like, the end credit scene and some other stuff, just the fact that this was, a movie that, in another world could have been very, very siloed, but we did the big, we did a little bit of universe stuff throughout the movie, and then way more like, okay, all of that stuff makes sense, you did it in another dimension, now we're going to talk about this shit, now we're going to talk about the Ten Rings. Yeah. I mean, I was already pogging from when Wu gives us the, like, or I don't know if he does it. The like big. No one knows how he got the 10 rings. Obviously, he wouldn't have said that actually.
No, but
it's
been a mystery from this.
Yeah, the narration specifically says some say it was found in a crypt or a crater.
Yeah,
and from comic stuff that it's a bit of both actually. And based on the ending where no one knows what the fuck this is. Who knows what it is? Like, I appreciate that they set it up. They had a clear, like, actually, maybe it's this thing that you know. And then they did the big, actually, maybe it's something nobody knows about, including you.
Yeah, I really like that, that it isn't just an art. Like, if we ended the movie like, oh yeah, those are fucking the Crimson Man's of Sidetrack or whatever. And be like, well, fuck off.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I appreciate that it's like this unknown thing.
Yeah.
Still talking into the Doctor Strange thing. Again, at the end, if Wong is coming here about this shit and not Strange, just not in a position or a character that anybody gives a shit about. Like, even the Avengers themselves are just like, if you talk to Wong, you don't talk to Strange. Why would you talk to Strange? Talk to Wong. So, yeah. Just wanted to point that out.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Carol as well. Liked getting Carol in this movie. Want to know what the hell she's doing up in space.
Yeah.
But I liked getting a little bit more of her in this.
Yeah.
Getting to see our first example of Bruce not, in the Hulk's body.
Yeah, really thought that was permanent. Really thought that was forever.
Really thought his arm was going to be fucked up forever. Seems like he might be healed by the time we get to She-Hulk. He might be back to normal. I mean, he's very old at this point, but...
Yeah, and still, he's very old, and it's been in cast for like 5 years now.
And he's not raging anymore.
Yeah.
He is just literally the ever-loving Hulk now.
Oh. But yeah, I honestly think that's a really good position to put someone who is, like, maybe passing down the mantle, or maybe just, like, shifting to a more consultant position.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I really like the idea of, just this whole ending. The feeling of, like, if this is a new hero, new generation, someone close to our age, which is terrifying. And then here are all the old people from the old generation who are just there to like consult and go like, yeah, I have all this knowledge about, space stuff. I know all this stuff about gamma stuff. None of us know what this is.
Yeah.
Just tick those boxes off. That way we're not sitting here wondering like, why didn't you fucking ask someone?
Exactly.
Because we can also just intuit that they're going to keep on checking with everyone else who could possibly know what's going on.
Yeah. Back to the movie itself.
Oh, the movie!
How did you feel about the final fight? Like, just the whole final act fight. It was a long one.
Yeah, I thought it was paced really well. Like, I appreciate that we started off with the 10 rings versus villagers, and it wasn't that crazy of a fight. Like, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was very easy to follow, and it was clear, like, listen, we're not going to treat this like this is, the absolute end of the world, because immediately one move, like, walks past everyone. It's a very clear, like, the fight with him is going to be separate from everyone here, but everyone here is going to be fighting for a bit. Honestly appreciate that the 10 rings do, like, relatively quickly after the Dweller starts breaking out.
Yeah.
They realize, like, oh, maybe we shouldn't keep on fighting each other. Screw it. Pass me some of that dragon shit. We'll fight alongside you. We're not going to backstab you. Like, that's not a problem anymore.
Also, let me say, if they didn't have enough dragon shit for everybody, how did they have enough dragon shit for all of them?
I mean, they killed some of them.
I guess, yeah. But it was so quick. Like, they even had, like, a blade that he could put on his hand thing. But yeah, so I would argue they had a little bit left over supplies.
Fair, yeah.
I mean, even Katie, halfway through, was able to go like, no, I am going to fight. So it's like, they had extra.
Yeah, you're right. I'll accept that. Yeah. Fair enough. They could have got more people.
That isn't what, like, that isn't what was supposed to happen anyway. But, still.
Yeah, but, really appreciated this, the ramp up of it, the fact that we had ramp up, that it wasn't immediately like, okay, third act is starting, here's the end of the world, and now it's not going to feel like the end of the world because we're going to keep it going for half an hour.
Yeah, honestly, until he got to the door and punched it once, I was like, oh yeah, of course they're going to fucking open up the portal, we're going to have to fight it. I didn't even cross my mind. Everything on the planet sounds like, well, they've got to do that. But this was the first time where I was like, no, we're not going to open up the door and fight that thing. Like, that would be... There's no way we could do that.
Yeah, I was so sucked into it as a clear, like, well, yeah, the final fight has to be, father and son.
Yeah.
Or father versus son, rather.
And then it was like, how the fuck is he going to do this? He's getting his ass up, throwing in the water, and now he should have the door, and it's like, oh, okay, we're just doing this. Also, seeing the gate from so far away, and then we finally go up to it, it's like, oh, it's all dragon scales.
Yeah.
So cool.
And yeah, just like learning the protector is still at the bottom of the lake, and diving down was it was a bit of a failure, but also a success in the sense that if he hadn't gone down there, wouldn't have woken up the dragon. Dragon wouldn't have been helping. They would have definitely lost if dragon wasn't helping.
Yeah.
And also this is divisive, but I am personally a big sucker of the midway through a fight or through a struggle having the big oh, I can do this as well, or I should combine both styles. I know a lot of people think of that as being a big ass pull of well, why didn't he just do that from the start? But I mean, I like it dramatically, and I prefer it to the big oh, and now I found a big rock that makes me stronger, or I found a rocket launcher. I like the big. The power was inside me the whole time.
It's very realistic, Most of the time, I would say it's hard to think about that shit when all this shit is going on.
Yeah, and he has a valid emotional reason for not doing that, in the sense that he didn't know about his mom's fighting style at all, and then, he didn't have the, he still hates his dad. Why would he fight like his dad now that he knows more about how to fight like his mom, and he's trying to figure out how to do that and how to, control the rings? I appreciate that moment for being the big flashback to his mom, and now he's actually taking in that information instead of going whatever, use both your strengths. Instead, he's seriously thinking about it as oh, I can do that actually, and I need to do that actually, and now I'm going to try and in the moment figure out what that means.
Your adrenaline's going, you're going to do the stuff that's most instinctual to you first. Then when none of that works, you're going to go, when you start to have the thought, what else can I do? You then click and go, oh, that's what it needs to be. I think the only time I've ever disliked that is in a very certain popular manga with, you know what I mean? You know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're talking about.
It's the oh, I could use my legs in, very popular manga. That's the only one that's ever been stupid to me, because that's how have you never for months thought, let me kick?
Right.
What if I kicked?
Yeah, I've read a lot of manga that have done something similar, and people don't like it because it's a trope. It's a thing one person has done in the past, and therefore it's no longer cool. No one's allowed to do it. But yeah, sucker for it. It also just fits the vibe of the movie so well.
Yeah.
It's just, so much of it is about execution, and Shang-Chi executes everything so well.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want to nitpick the things I probably could nitpick, because it's like, no, it's fucking rad, though. It's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, watching Black Widow and this back-to-back is so hard, because I don't know which one I liked more. Like... The choreography in this one was so much better, but there was so many awesome set pieces in Black Widow as well. That, like, even if I just say, like, which do I like better in the fighting, it's like, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, and they're such a good duo of movies to be releasing when, like, now that's, they're releasing movies again, because it's such a hard contrast of Black Widow has a big final set piece thing, but a lot of it is smaller, like, spy stuff and more, like, small scale stuff, whereas the Shang-Chi stuff, even the ones that are, like, I'm fighting, like, 5 goons, still, it's on the bus, it's such an elaborate set piece, it's so insanely cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it just feels so much bigger immediately. Yeah, like, I think that really helps.
Might have been my favorite thing in the... Again, I don't know, probably that scaffolding thing more.
I think I've got to say the bus thing. Like, it's really, really tough, but it's so damn good.
Also, like, the final fight in this act was probably the closest comparable to, like, Black Panther, in the sense that, like, there is the main protagonist going against the main antagonist, while also, like, an army fighting an army.
Yeah.
I can't think of another MCU movie that's done that. I'm sure there is one, but Black Panther's the one that immediately comes to mind. But yeah, Black Panther's, like, the army versus the army stuff, I think I liked better than the army versus army stuff in this one. But the final fight, I liked in this one more than Black Panther, I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, they both had a kind of, like, comparable final act to me. But yeah, I really loved also that it's the enemy coming to us, that we're not going to them, they're coming to us.
So rare, as you said.
Yeah. Very, very rare. Yeah, but final act was visually stunning, insane, incredible, riding the dragon, fighting Dweller of Darkness, even, like, that's even separate from, like, the, your main antagonist versus the main protagonist. Like, that whole shit is, like, the fourth act of it. Or no, it's part of the third act, but it's, like, third act continuing.
And, I mean, part of it's also, like, the escalation of power-ups in the sense that, like, he's a fighter for the most part, for most of the runtime of the movie, very similar. Then he learns, some of his mom's fighting style. And then, like, in the final act, he has the double, like, I need to combine both of these in order to, like, fight properly. And then on top of that, I'm getting the 10 rings. And even with those successive things, it's like, okay, I don't think you can beat your dad. Okay, you might be able to beat your dad, but you can't beat the Dweller in Darkness. Like, it's on a completely different level. Even with the dragon, like, it's sucking the soul out of the dragon. There's no way. And he still manages to pull it off. Like, I've seen a movie before. I know the hero's gonna win.
But it doesn't feel ass-pulley in any way either. Because it is like they couldn't do this before. But also, these 10 rings are insane, and they didn't have someone wearing the 10 rings before.
Yeah, and even the way he kills it is, like, they describe it later as being a Kamehameha. I don't know what the fuck Katie was watching.
There must have been a different version of the script.
Yeah, or
because he does the Kamehameha
against...
and then fails to do it, and then I imagine he was supposed to do that but successful against Dweller in Darkness, and they were like, that's weird, let's do this instead. What do you think was cooler?
Yeah, like, I think the 10 rings swirling around and destroying it from the inside out makes a lot of sense as something, like, how would you possibly do that without the 10 rings?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a different tactic. And it is, like, extremely cool. I have to imagine, they just didn't have the VFX set up, or they weren't, like, totally sure. But yeah, love it so much, because, it also...
Maybe she meant he was doing a Kamehameha in the sense that he was doing the Hawaiian leader of the Kamehameha, in the sense that he was being a badass.
Oh, I see.
You got a big brain.
Oh, no, I didn't have the big brain.
But yeah, where do we go from that? That was such a bad joke.
But yeah, I like the shonen power-ups.
Yeah.
That's how I'll conclude that statement.
Like, it was fully like, how the fuck is he going to do this? But then also, I can see a way how he's going to do this, but how visually are you going to sell it?
Yeah. But yeah, love the variety of different types of fights, love the variety of effects throughout the movie. Like, also, you know, most of the first start of the movie, besides Wen Wu's, like, big fight through history, most of it's pretty mundane. Like, apart from, like, Razor Fist's sword, a lot of it is just, you know, martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
And they didn't feel like, oh, well, we have to, you know, have a big Iron Man blast or something in each act. Because that makes the final fight feel way more fantastical. It pops off way more. It makes you go like, this is special, this is unique, this is crazy.
The thing that I had to keep coming back to is, this is an origin story.
Yeah, like, this could not have... Like, there's no way in hell that Marvel Studios would have ever done this in Phase 1 for a new character. They would have been like, no, it's too big, it's too scary. But I love it. I love how much confidence they have.
Like, we have not had an origin this whack since Guardians of the Galaxy. And even that, not this whack. Like, man, like, if they're all sitting around a table talking about their origin stories, he's got them blown out of the water.
Seriously. So massive, so crazy. And so, like, also just not what you would expect, like, just looking at him at a table. Whereas, like, you know, Doctor Strange talking about his thing, I would just go like, yeah, this isn't as cool as what I assumed you would do. Like, if you're calling yourself the Sorcerer Supreme, I would imagine something crazier than, I was the only guy in 3 different sanctums, and so I had to do the thing. Like, why did you find another guy?
You know, if they all meet up and talk on the table about their, like, origins and stuff like that, it's gonna blow everybody out of the water, and then he's gonna talk to Danny, and it's gonna be like, yeah, I had to fight this basically dragon-like thing. Yeah, so did I. Well, I had to kill my father. Yeah, I had to do the same thing. I had to fight some immortal people.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so did me. Well, my father was immortal. Yeah, me too. Just everything in common.
Oh my god.
But yeah, honestly, really, I want to see Iron Fist and Shang-Chi. That's like a normal takeaway. Like, I want to see that.
Maybe they'll do it.
Wong may be like really good friends with these two now.
I
They're
can
going
see
out
it.
karaokeing and stuff like that.
Love it.
I think we've gone over pretty much everything.
I think so.
The end of it, we have the sister. You know, they do the twinge like, oh, she might be evil, but there's nothing in the entire movie that would make us think that she would be evil. So.
No, I think I'm gonna call it. Like, the next time we see the 10 rings, they're gonna do the fake out of, oh fuck, it's the 10 rings.
Yeah.
Like, definitely that, but they're not gonna be evil.
Oh yeah. Big girl boss energy, but that's not evil.
No.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what it's going to be like from here. Are they still doing the fighting ring stuff here now? Or are we moving away from that into something else?
They're setting up a whole bunch of, like, lights and stuff, which I think might mean that they're going to try and do the fighting ring stuff there.
Yeah. Which
would be really cool, because again, like, so many characters throughout the MCU who could make some money, you know, maybe even, you wouldn't want to make it official, but, like, I love it. I love the concept. I would watch an entire, like, you know, short TV thing that is just, like, MCU fights.
I want to see that.
What if one of these guys fought one of these guys?
That's what I want from the comics, too. I want the Dragon Ball Z, put them in a blank, like, arena type thing, have them fight. But that is, like, it's the kind of thing you always want as an audience, but if it actually did exist, you know, would it be popular? I don't know. I can't think if it's ever been done.
We have some stuff in the comics that are a bit similar, and we'll see if that ever comes to the MCU.
Okay.
But nothing exactly like Blank Box, Two People, Final Destination.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If it's not No Items, Final Destination, then what are you doing?
Alright, do you have anything else to say before I ask you the fateful question I always ask?
Yes. I don't think I have anything else to say. Love the movie. Gotta say it a thousand times.
Oh my god. I mean, yeah. If you don't get that from this, what have you been listening to? Holy crap. Love it, love it, love it. Especially as, you know, like, the first thing, as you said, in Phase 4, that is not a returning character. Like, this is such a big, you know, even if it's a new character, we can nail it. We got more confidence. We can do the big shit. Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Okay, so, big question is...
where are these characters going to appear next?
Yeah. I mean, Wong, I imagine, probably Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Now, not including any what ifs. Wong might be in a what if or something.
Fair.
But, like, excluding what ifs, where these characters are going to appear next, now we're getting real down to the wire of, like, I don't really know much about what shows are coming up next. I don't know what's out except for Hawkeye and Moon Knight. I think the only other TV shows.
Hawkeye and Moon Knight and What If, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, that's very little. And then I don't know what's after that. So.
Yeah. In terms of movies, Eternals and No Way Home are currently out.
Because, like, to be fair, we look at the list of, like, the MCU viewing order. It's like a document. Like, instead of getting spoiled on stuff, it's just text that says the news of that. So, like, we looked at it a lot to, like, you know, see about what's upcoming, and then we talk about it amongst ourselves, and then it goes out of my mind that every fucking time. Where it's like, I know there's a Fantastic Four movie announced. Yeah. I know there's some other stuff announced, like She-Hulk and stuff like that, or, you know, Miss Marvel's coming at some point. But, like, most of it, I don't fucking remember what the hell.
Yeah.
I feel like I've asked, you know, in so many reactions, is there an Avengers slated?
No Avengers.
But, yeah, so Wong probably appear next in Multiverse of Madness. I think we're both agreed on that.
Yeah.
Wong will appear next in Mom.
We know, of course, that the 10 rings will return.
Yeah.
That is at the end of the movie. They don't say anything about anyone else. Shang-Chi may never return.
May never return.
May never return.
I imagine Shang-Chi and KT will appear together. The sister, probably not. The sister, where would that appear? Maybe Multiverse Madness, honestly. Maybe not Shang-Chi, but the sister. I mean, honestly, Shang-Chi and Katie might appear in Multiverse Madness.
Very possible.
I'm just going to do a blanket. I think they're all going to appear in Multiverse of Madness next.
Okay, fair.
Abomination, I think, will appear next in Multiverse of Madness. Fuck it. You know what?
It's your catch-all.
Fuck it. There's so much that's going to be jam-packed in that movie.
Fair
they
enough.
might be able to fit in that stuff, too.
Okay.
But yeah, like, you know, they don't have to, but it would be easy, like, by the way, there's some shit going on, Strange. You want to do something about this? Abomination might just be living at Sanctum Sanctorum.
Sanctum Sanctorum.
That.
Yes.
But yeah, aside from that.
Okay.
I guess that's my guess. They're all going to be your mom.
I think that's fair, especially with that end teaser of, like, we don't know what the hell these rings are.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that tying in. My guesses are, oh man, I kind of want the 10 rings to show up in Hawkeye, but I think that's too tight.
No way.
Like, I do agree with you that the sister and the 10 rings are, like, they're just a faction out there now, so I could see them showing up in basically anything, whether it is, like, whether they want to do the villain thing, or more likely, if they are, like, you know, a group of heroes, or just a neutral group of, we like doing these, like, bar fights.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Spider-Man, you want to do a fight? I'll guess that they'll show up in, oh boy, now I'm struggling with the slate, Black Panther 2, maybe.
Okay.
I could see that as a big, like, you know, Wakanda's getting big, and they send someone on to do some fights.
Okay.
I mean, they're opening up to the world.
I mean, that's also depending if they're still doing fights.
Yeah. That's also, I could also see it being the reverse of, like, if Black Panther 2 is going to do a big, like, the outside world's actually pretty bad, did we make a mistake in opening up? They could do the big, like, hey, I just saw Wong and Abomination fight on my phone on TikTok.
Well, it was on the dark web, okay, not TikTok.
Dark talk.
It is so funny to me that they are, like, thousands of people are watching this on the dark web live right now. And it's like, I don't think that's how the dark web works.
The bitrate is so bad. Like, how in the world is anyone?
Like, there are shit like that that's distributed on the dark web, but it's not live streamed. And the thousands of viewers, if you're on Twitch now trying to get thousands of viewers is difficult. And you're doing that on the dark web?
It's not a big thing, but since we're talking about streaming also, well, just like the plot point of the guy streaming on the bus, and that, you know, leading to Shang-Chi being a busboy.
Have we seen him before? Also, I kept calling him busboy because I thought busboy was a name for his job. I just realized that's why he's called busboy. And I kept saying, is he going to go back to being a busboy? Because I couldn't think of the name. It's not chauffeur, it's...
Oh, like parking valet.
Parking valet, yeah. Oh my god, I kept saying busboy because I was like, that can't be right. Busboy is a job.
Yeah.
But it's the cleaning tables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, busboy is a job. I just can't remember what it actually is, so it must be that. Oh, fuck me up so much.
No, I totally get it. I mean, you were saying it with such confidence, as you always do, that I was like, yeah, that might also just be what a busboy is called. Like, maybe a busboy also parks cars.
Oh my god.
Nah. Anyways,
but yeah, the live stream guy, fucking hilarious.
Loved him.
Did we see him in something else before in the MCU, or am I crazy? Yeah, he was in Homecoming. He's the guy that says Spider-Man do a flip.
Oh my god,
that's him. I didn't say it in the moment because I was like, this guy feels like I've seen him before in the MCU specifically. But yeah, he was the guy who told Spider-Man to do backflip.
He looked familiar, but I never would have guessed him from there.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, that's it, right?
I did do my final guess, of course, for where they're gonna show up next. I'm stealing your water. Oh no! I want to say that it's gonna be something in Phase 4. I don't want to be a little coward and go like, oh, it's gonna be in Shang-Chi 2, because it's too easy. It's too easy. Multiverse Madness is a really good guess, actually, because, like, where else do we go with where did these rings come from?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I guess I'm probably going to say Multiverse of Madness as well, as, like, a side thing. Not as, like, the main focus, but as also the rings are important, and we're going to, like, touch on it a little bit, and they'll show up a little bit.
Okay.
Abomination? I'm just going to say in She-Hulk.
Okay. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah. Come back, do the big, like, oh, I've changed, I'm taking martial arts classes,
yeah.
I do yoga now. Meanwhile, Bruce is like, yeah, broke my arm, did a big snap, fixed the universe. Oh, well, you didn't fix it well enough. Why do I still gotta pay taxes? Why didn't you snap away capitalism, you little bitch?
You should have.
Shut up, Blonsky. That's my guess. No one else I can really think of. So, yeah, basically there. I mean, the cast is pretty small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it.
Next we have
What If.
All right.
Next we know What If. See you guys for What If. And I know one of the things for that. Like, one of the What Ifs.
Actually, yeah, so do I. I know one.
Yeah. So that's it. We'll see you guys for that. I'm excited because we're basically going to be going into these blind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, finally.
Yeah. So, see you for that. Till then, get the fuck out of here. Also, go get early access to Patreon. You can get all of What If. Go check that out. Leave a comment. Do all that shit.
Please,
do all that shit.
Interaction.
Yes. Give me that interaction.